All right, welcome back. Now let's switch gear and turn our focus to security, and this time the Boko Haram terror campaign, which of course has been ravaging the northeast of the country. It seems the Boko Haram terrorists are on some kind of resurgence. Since January 2017, not less than 35 different attacks have been carried out by the remnants of the insurgents. Most of the attacks have been by suicide bombers, while others have been hit and run or ambushes. At least about 200 people have been killed since January 2017, when this seeming resurgence actually began. The most deadly attack in recent times has been that of July the 25th, in which about 69 persons were reportedly killed, including soldiers and civilians, in an ambush of an oil exploration team. Now, acting President Yemi Osinbajo has since ordered the country's military chiefs to return to the command and control center in Maiduguri in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. Army Chief Buratai has also given troops 40 days to capture the leader of Boko Haram, Abubakar Shekau, dead or alive. Everyone is now waiting and eager to see that deadline met and the objective, of course, achieved. Joining me now to discuss this troubling situation is Colonel Hassan Stanlabo, who is a retired military officer. Colonel, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Just how worried should we be over this seeming resurgence that we're beginning to see on the part of Boko Haram? And would you describe this actually as a resurgence? Even though we're not seeing them take territories, yes, but then the suicide bombing campaigns, yes, it's becoming alarming.
Yes, all the same, we must paint the right picture. The gods we are beginning to see in Boko Haram is becoming disturbing. We must accept that, And even though optimists like myself believe that we have a military that can take care of that, but we must analyze the entire situation properly. I want Nigerians to understand that, look, I see what's happening right now as terrorism and not insurgency. We have actually taken care of insurgency, let's say 80–85%. And I think the serious job which the military did in the course of that actually dislodged Boko Haram from most of their strong areas, okay? And then the fanning out, which led now to sleeper cells here and there and mobile cells and so on. Why it is easier to take care of insurgency through well-planned military lines of operations. Terrorism is a different ballgame. We must be very frank with ourselves. Terrorism is not a war. It is a variant of asymmetric, what's it called? A variant of asymmetric conflict, all right? Embedded in communities. It therefore requires patience. It is intelligence-driven. The battle space is not defined. The enemy is faceless. It is capital-intensive, both in human and resources, okay? It calls for great patience. It calls for citizen participation by way of supply of information which eventually gets crystallized into intelligence. The citizen must be seen to be taking ownership of the entire situation, of his own security. Moving on from there, we expect to see a situation whereby the state, that is the Nigerian state now, should be taking such steps as putting in place appropriate urban security strategy for our cities. Okay? Such urban security strategies for our cities would address in a sectorial manner security requirements for each of the sectors within the society. For instance, schools and learning environments. It to spell out what are the security requirements we need there. Hospitals, it to spell it out. 5-star hotels or leisure areas, it to spell it out. Homes, that is residential areas, offices, and so on. So it will become a very fat compendium, so to speak. And when you pick it up, you look at the aspect that concerns you and you try to put it in place. In addition to that, the enforcement or compliance aspects must be addressed. We must have in each of our divisional police offices what I'll call the CTLO's desk, Counter-Terrorist Liaison Officer's desk. Such individuals or the officers manning such desk would have, amongst other things, his major task would be to liaise within the catchment area of the divisional police office, their own catchment area, and make sure that all soft targets within such areas, okay, are complying with the appropriate urban security strategic strategies for cities. It will liaise with the schools, liaise with residencies, and so on and so forth. Now, there is one major thing that disturbs me a great deal. And I've been saying this, DEJI. Here we are fighting insurgency, terrorism, and what have you. But till now, as we speak, I hope we are all aware that some of these terrorists coming from our neighboring countries. A good number of us in our private homes have some of these citizens from some of these countries as our security guards. We call them Malams, or what's the other name they call Northerners? Aboki. All over the place. Come to my estate. 90% of the houses in my estate are manned by either Malians, Nigerians, Chadians, and so on.
And the funniest thing is the majority of Nigerians do not know that these people are not Nigerians.
Good.
They just think they are all from the north.
They are all from the north. Now, when you know, if you understand the way terrorism operates, most of these guys you see could be part of the sleeper cells waiting out there.
And that's quite dangerous.
I'm telling you, and I know what I'm talking about. If you've done quite some studies in terrorism, you will know, you'll be afraid for this country. Some of these guys could be part of the sleeper cells waiting out there for the right time to strike. They keep posting out information to their parent bodies. They just keep watching and understanding the environment. They can say when you drive in and when you drive out. Everything about you, your Sunday service, when you leave, when you come in, and so on. They gather enough details about the environment. You see them in the evening coming together, taking their chai, and so on. Now, where am I headed for? It is my own advice that the Ministry of Interior insists that every residential home or offices in this country must source its security from private security companies. Because private security companies have full data of the employees under them, where they are from, the guarantors. Mention it. I run a security company, so I know what I'm saying. If I give out a chap to you and something goes wrong and the chap decides to run off, I know who to turn to because you guaranteed him and the fellow will produce it. You have every detail about the guy. Now, part of the benefit of that is that we are giving employment to Nigerians. Most of these boys roaming the streets, our boys who are all over the place, you are availing some of them employment. You are helping to secure our environment, and so on. Then now, what is the next task? Are we just leaving these foreigners there? Immigration should now go into action. Pick these guys. These guys don't have papers. Pick them and send them back. Repatriate them back home or deport them back to their home countries. Look, it requires some boldness and the political will to do what I'm saying. Nigerians are being repatriated every day from other countries. It is still like this. They pick you up in Europe, and when they discover you don't have your right papers, but with the next fight to your country, you are in there. Here we are, fighting Boko Haram and living with Boko Haram in our house. It is unfortunate, DEJI.
Tell me how worried you are. I mean, we saw the other day the military coming out to say that it appears, and the military says it has that intelligence, that some parents are actually giving up their children to Boko Haram to use them as suicide bombers.
Yeah, that brings me to another aspect of the whole thing. Citizens in the communities are not really cooperating out of fear. I mean, especially up north. I mean, the northeast, where the whole thing is happening.
Because you wonder where these suicide bombers are coming from. I mean, girls as young as 8, 6, and they never stop coming.
Thank you. These Boko Haram elements now that were dislodged live amongst us. They live with these guys in the northeast. People know them. It's just like if you go to what is this border town in
Sema?
very good and so on, where all this smuggling takes place, smuggling of rices, that and that. You know, it's a smuggling community. People there know who are the smugglers. But you dare not open your mouth to report them to any law enforcement agent. Because these guys act like cartels. They will dislodge you or deal with your family. That is the same thing happening up north. People are becoming hesitant to assist with relevant information. The military is a human being like you. They are not angels or ghosts from heaven. You must be able to avail them necessary information to be able to work with. We must really appreciate the role the military is playing, my brother. Maybe a good number of us as citizens have not experienced it before. I have experienced it, so I know what it takes. I know what I went through in Sierra Leone, in Liberia, in Bakassi, in the Darfur. So I really at times sit, watch these boys and say, look, I just pray you all come back alive. If you know what the military is going through, now look at the rainy season. It is one major problem we are having because the rain has a way of, distorting or delaying operations from going the way it should go. And if you look at the environment we are talking about, very sandy. Most vehicles will be bogged down. Most heavy-duty equipment will be bogged down, and so on. They cannot reach where you want them to reach on good time. So supplies, logistics become a bit difficult.
And then we had the Air Force chief the other day saying the weather too is hampering pilots from carrying out the operation.
And this is not just peculiar to Nigeria. It's everywhere. You find military aircraft, we saw it in the World War, that can't take off because, look, of bad weather conditions. The few that risk it out of 5, 2 might not come back because of bad weather conditions, and so on. It's everywhere. So during rainy season like this, you find such things. And it is part of what Boko Haram is capitalizing on. They are not using some of the heavy, bulky equipment you are using. So they can decide to take their time and see how much of damage they can cause. Lots of things are playing against us, but we need to really understand the situation, appreciate the military, urge them on and let them know, look, we are not here to castigate you. We are only just crying out as citizens because of what we see happening, and please just do the best you can for us. Because if you follow the narrative emanating from certain quarters, you will just see that it appears some of us as Nigerians are not being appreciative of the military. And it could be very, very demoralizing. Very.
And that's quite sad, especially when you consider what the military is doing to keep all of us safe.
With this rainy season now, DEJI, I had a situation where for nearly 1 week I was in a trench as a lieutenant with my boots and everything. After 1 week, when I came out of that trench, the entire legs were all sore. Sore. I'm talking as an officer. You can imagine what the bloody private working with me will be going through. These are the situations. And with those sores, you must still move. You must still move.
And then the people you're doing this for,
and the people you are doing it for are not appreciating it. All sorts of things. You must still move. It disturbs your movement. And you are moving under enemy attacks. So you must be putting your heads down while moving because you can't afford to stop. You must keep moving. You must keep moving because there is a timeline for you to probably capture a particular objective. So you must keep moving. You are doing all this for your country. You are laying down your life for your country, for others to be able to sleep well in their homes. Why should we not then in our homes appreciate those who are making us sleep in peace? That's the situation.
It's a sad one. I mean, it's really sad. But this resurgence now, well, seeming resurgence we're seeing, because I just hope it is not. It's difficult. I mean, of course, the acting president has asked the military chiefs to go back to Maiduguri. That's the command and control center. You think that would make any difference at all?
Yes, a great deal of a difference. It will boost the morale of the men in the field, and when the service chiefs themselves begin to move around right in the forward location, it makes the average soldier feel, yes, I think we are all in this together, you know. And there's nothing like you sitting down to eat in the bush, in the forest, and you are seeing your general with his own machine too, eating from the same pot, the same rice, the same beans, and so on, going around and chatting with you, eating out of your plate, go around, shake hands with you. Nothing can really boost the morale of a soldier like that. It would really go a long way. I have gone through it and I know what I'm saying.
The other time we had the chief of army staff actually give that, well, should I call it an ultimatum now to his troops to capture Abubakar Shekau, the leader of Boko Haram, dead or alive, within 40 days. I don't know. What do you make of that? You think?
Well, I would look at it from
beyond saying whether that is achievable.
I'll look at it from two angles. Okay. First and foremost, I want to say, well, he is the chief of army staff. He's got far more information at his disposal than we ordinary folks out here, and probably he's working on those information, which is informing what he's saying by giving a deadline. It could be looked at again from the other angle, that no, look, chief, why place a deadline? If I were in your position, I may say as soon as possible, I want this man captured, dead or alive, and things like that, you know. But it depends. It's a matter of style. Like they tell us in the military, command is a matter of style. Your own style of command could differ from mine. So if that's his style, provided it succeeds, fine. He is the he is the chief of army staff.
Do you think, even if by any chance Abubakar Shekau was captured or killed, that could signal the end of Boko Haram, especially now that we know Boko Haram has another faction being led by Al-Banawi?
It may not signal the end, but it will be a highly demoralizing factor to the belligerent forces out there. That's one. Two, whenever the leadership of any terror group is dead, in most cases, that group ends up factionalized. Why? Because the struggle for leadership becomes more intense. More intense. More so, especially when the guy has not actually, while he was still alive, reorder the hierarchy in such a way that we know who is number one, number two, number three. If he has not done that, so that immediately he is not there, we know who takes over. In most cases, the struggle for leadership factionalizes them. And if such things are happening, it is to our credit. It weakens them the more. The only place where it becomes disadvantageous to us is probably when you want to do what I call collective negotiations or bargaining. For instance, if your girls are scattered amongst all of them, and you know you cannot bring them together to bargain because the various factions can never come together. So you take them in piecemeal, negotiate with A, meet its own terms, get what you want, negotiate with B, meet its own terms, get what you want, and so on. Which slows down the entire process of negotiation, and so on. How you wish they were all together, and things like that, you know.
And finally, do you think this is going to pass?
It will definitely come to pass, and I will explain. The resilience of the Nigerian Armed Force is something which can only be imagined. It's something which can only be imagined. As a young officer, I had the cause to be so emotional that I shed tears. Was it in Liberia or Sierra Leone? When we were cut off, our line of communication was cut off. Logistics could not reach us for about 4 days. My troops never even had water to drink. The only water we could drink at a point was where donkeys and cows were also drinking, and you were compelled to also fill your water bottle and drink. Otherwise, you are on your own. Yet, we were not sure of where the next meal was coming from. In addition to that, we had a deadline to move and capture a particular spot where the chopper lifting some resources for us would maneuver and get there to drop them. If it cannot come down to drop it, it might drop it from the sky. So it was not left for you. You want to say you are hungry, you cannot move? They are telling you what to do for your meal to come in. You turn around and look at your soldiers who are looking up to you. We must appreciate the Nigerian. We must appreciate our armed forces. They are doing a lot. We don't know.
We don't know really.
We don't know until you are involved. You wouldn't know. You just sit in the what's it called? The comfort of your bedroom, romancing your wife, opening your mouth and saying all sorts of rubbish. If you watch a film of what's going on in the forward lines, you ask yourself, you mean these soldiers are suffering like that?
And these soldiers are human beings. They have families, they have wives.
Did you see today's Punch, the front page, where soldiers are giving vaccinations to little kids? Or what do we call this vaccination? This one which Bill Gates is championing.
Polio vaccines.
Yes. All these are things meant to win the hearts and minds of the people. So it therefore means that ordinarily, the task of the military would have just been recover territories and move on.
Move on.
But
Which that should be the primary.
Thank you. But then now, you recover territories, you move on. If you move on without those territories being covered by law enforcement agents.
That is what we're beginning to see now. Because
thank you.
Some of the territories that have been recovered, you don't expect the military to stay there.
Thank you.
And they move on.
They move on.
Bad guys
expecting that civil authority will now move in. The police, NSCDC, DSS, and what have you. But I guess because of manpower issues, we all know the police has manpower issues. And of course, some of the law enforcement agencies. So they cannot really fill up enough of these gaps. So you see part of the men who should have been right forward fighting, remaining back to play some other role. Now, you need to convince these civilians that, look, come back home. Things are getting okay.
The civilians are scared to come back.
Good. Because of that, the army has taken the pain to reactivate some of the schools around. We have education officers teaching in some of the schools. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Corporals, lance corporals, sergeants of the education corps. All these are people who should be forward. Fighting. The army, just like the Air Force, has taken the pain to establish small medical centers. In the case of the Air Force, in fact, hospitals. To make sure that some level of medical care is availed these people when they come in. All is in a bid to attract Nigerians back to their homes. You can see the extent to which the armed forces is going. Then we just sit there and say, oh, resurgence, what is happening? These guys are human beings like you. You are asking me whether shall we pass through this stage? Yes, it will be over someday. Definitely it will be over. The insurgency, like I said, has been probably taken good care of. It is the terrorism aspect that we are still in. And like I did mention in my narrative, terrorism requires patience and time. It is intelligence driven. So if you are not feeding the military with information, you are delaying the entire process. And terrorism is not so easy to just do away with. The Americans are still in Afghanistan. Since when I was in university, they were in Afghanistan. Till today, I'm a retired officer, they are still in Afghanistan. If terrorism was that easy, what are they doing in Afghanistan and other countries? With all their might. Thank God for the aircraft we might be receiving from the US authorities. You know, the Febia Alpha 29 Super Tornado. Fantastic aircraft. Fantastic aircraft with capabilities for attack and surveillance, suitable for counter-terrorism and anti-insurgency operation. Is going to help turn around the situation. You know, and it comes with a very fine, good package: training, maintenance, air-to-air missile, what's it called? Ground-guided capabilities. You mentioned it. Fantastic aircraft. A few countries in Africa have them, Angola and so on. These are things we could have had on our inventory long ago. If only we had responsible governments in the past that take the defense serious. If some small countries already have this, here we are celebrating it. Something that even Chad and Nigeria, they have. We are celebrating it with all our might. We should just keep quiet and push it into our inventory. Quietly. I'm telling you. We fail to understand that with a strong defense, you can project your country's foreign policy. If you have a strong defense, it becomes a veritable tool in the projection of your foreign policy as a country. We are a superpower within the sub-region of West Africa, or even in Africa. When you count us, South Africa and Egypt, we are the powers in Africa. We should have what it takes to be able to play that role effectively and talk with boldness in the Committee of Nations. I just hope we shall get to that point.
Thank you very much, sir, for coming on the program, and thank you very much for your thoughts. And I have no doubt that this phase will pass. Well, that's it on the program. If you want to watch it again, it's simple. All you just need to do is go to our website. It's www.tv360nigeria.com. You'll find this program and lots more there. You can also join us on our YouTube channel. It's actually youtube.com/TV360Nigeria. Now do subscribe to get the latest updates, and of course you can get a lot of videos, including this one. And on Google Plus, it's at TV360Nigeria. And of course on Facebook, the address is facebook.com/TV360online. And our Twitter handle is at TV360Nigeria. We thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next week.